Micromanaging can be just as dangerous as poor management, period. And I see it all the time. I see architects, engineers, tradesmen, leaders, DOD people, like so much micromanaging, and they just get poor morale, shitty production. Happy employees are gonna show up with pride and put pride in their work. Unhappy employees, it was an accident. Oh well, I gotta go home. All right, Miguel, here we are. Made it back from Texas once again. 21 hours of driving, 2 days in the truck and the rig to be back. Having surgery on the 30th, so in 10 days. Umbilical hernia that was caused from my back surgery almost a year ago, so that's fun. Anyway, so here we are. Some Smith machine front squats are always a fun play. So let's knock these out. With brand content creation, everybody's individual schedules, travel schedule, things like that. Time is going to be hard to be predictable, say, week to week if schedules change, especially, you're working for a business and an individual who I would say is like a high producer, like a high productive person. Good job. So when you're telling me some things you're struggling with and having a hard time with, trying to think, okay, I want to stick to my diet. I want to, make sure you want to compete, and then you're trying to balance life, personal projects, outside of work, your work life, and everything. So obviously, what's the natural thing? You want to have more structure, right? Because it's more settling to the mind if you can be more predictable, so you know what's going to happen. Even people who say, oh, I hate planning or any of that, it's bullshit. The human wants things to be easy. So you want to know what's on the other side of the hill. You want to know what's beyond. You want to be able to predict anything, because you get uncomfortable when you have to deal with challenges that are set in front of you, right? Okay, so for you asking me, like, you want me to help you plan your schedule weekly so you have your expectations to make it easy and make more sense. I understand about being productive, but that's not how it works. I might have to leave, so we might have to cram, you know what I mean? Your job, so you have to look at it like this, your job is to be here or to be available during those times. So to help you, the way to look at it is not like, oh, I want to know what I'm working on this week. It's not like, oh, I know I'm working. Thank God for that. Whatever happens, I know I can handle it because this is what I do for a living, okay? So the best thing is, like, if you want to compete and worry about your personal balance, think about it as breaking your time down and allotting attention to time. Start structuring your time, not the work. Does that make sense? So the time that you need to be working, you can be doing that in that time. Time you need to be doing personal life, do personal life. So like a lot of people I think have put this in the past, become extremely selfish with your time. But make sure if you're gonna do projects, be incredibly selfish with your time. Treat it just like a work day. Don't be lazy, don't get up late, get up and get after it. So you know that, like, I could do this in 8 hours, don't drag it out. Because then you don't want it to drag into the next week, right? So you have to be incredibly selfish with your time, and that includes, big thing, being accountable with your time, okay? So not wasting your own time. Don't allow yourself to get lazy. Rest when you need to, but do not allow yourself to get lazy. Be selfish with your time, and also be incredibly accountable for yourself. So like I said, on, like, say, days off, but I want to do this and this and this. Get up and go do it. Don't drag it out. Don't waste time, because then you're gonna get pissed off at yourself. It's gonna frustrate you in the next week. You're gonna drag work or other personal things into it, and it makes it harder, right? There you go. Selfish, accountable, structure your time. I do a lot of things, all kinds of contracting, design, building, fabrication, you name it. The restaurant we're building, Barrio Duck, there's just been a lot of contractor issues out there. If I hadn't come onto the job and kind of brought some of them to light, it would have continuously been a mess. So luckily, I was able to catch things and realize that, like, okay, some of these, a lot of contractors are shady, guys floating money. Other trades like our drywall, storefront glass, cement, stucco, things like that just weren't getting paid, so people weren't showing up, and having to kind of catch on that. And it sucks, it happens, but the biggest thing on a job or anything you do, especially hiring somebody for your house, make sure you get what you pay for, first of all. Make sure you're paying for a professional and you have a payment schedule, like deposits and so forth, and that you set expectations for the job, or else you're just gonna get taken for a ride. They'll like, oh, I don't have to do this today. I can go make a little cash over here on the side. Make sure you stay on top of your people. Don't micromanage, because people usually causes issues with morale. But make sure you stay on top of it. We'll talk about micromanaging right now, especially in business. The folly of micromanaging. Let me tell you about that. So, a lot of people forget why ship captains, or their leadership job is so important. And they talk about having shift, just like being a good leader. Being a good leader, a lot of people kind of forget that they don't understand really what it takes to be a good leader. You're leading people. You need to be a leader of yourself, and then you need to be able to care about other people. You might not be an expert at every facet of the individuals that you control. You need to be an expert at helping those individuals do their job and managing what they need. So micromanaging can create like animosity on a job site or in a workplace. And when you talk about crew's morale, same thing with being a leader in a job or a business. You want to make sure your team, your culture has good morale, and too much micromanaging can be very antagonistic. And maybe most people just don't have the mindset to understand what they're explaining is either simple. So allow your people to do what they need to do, especially if they're skilled, educated, and they're there to do a job, and you explain it. Give them the chance to perform before you critique, okay? Micromanaging can be just as dangerous as poor management, period. And I see it all the time. I see architects, engineers, tradesmen, leaders, DOD people, like so much micromanaging, and they just get poor morale, shitty production, fall behind, fail, and all of that. Last thing you need is to fail in production, because if crews has good morale, happy employees are going to show up with pride and put pride into their work. Unhappy employees, it was an accident. Oh well, I gotta go home. 3.5 felt smooth. I gotta get back, take my time to build back up, because like pain, it's interesting because your body's meant to feel pain as like a warning system, but at the same time, there's healthy amounts of pain to keep you, to push yourself to grow. So you have to find that balance. In my particular situation, with the umbilical hernia, it kind of rips, and you can feel it. So it's like, okay, it's a different type of pain. It's like injury pain. You gotta be super conscious of what you're doing, what you're trying to do with your mind as it plays with you. It's gonna be stressful. So understand not to overdo it and when you know to do it. But in this situation, I'm dealing with the pain best I can to try to activate my legs, get some sort of production, you know. So it is what it is. But we'll take the recovery serious, as always. Keep moving forward. So what do you think, Miguel? How about that hurricane? Super crazy. I mean, they called it Hillary. You definitely expected it to be crazier. But I guess it's about as real as Hillary Clinton's career in politics. I'd say it's exactly the opposite, because I'm pretty sure she killed more people than the hurricane. But hey, that's just my opinion. It's definitely an educating lesson to become a boss. Like, you're taking on new leadership roles. You're not just being all the hats of your business, but now you're also being an employer. And I think just like great power comes great responsibility. Success in business comes with responsibility, especially the responsibility of employing and having to manage other individuals and helping them provide a living for themselves and their family. It's awesome. It's challenging. It's serious. It's not anything to be taken lightly. I think if you're a good boss, you really understand that I would go hungry before my employees do, because it's important that people are now looking to you and hoping your business doesn't fail so their job doesn't disappear like so many did during COVID and other things, that it really helps you become more accountable for your own actions and your own decision making, because now your decisions aren't just about yourself personally. The consequences include how your decisions affect other people. And so the closest thing I could describe to compare it to would be like becoming a father. Like, a lot of people are like, oh yeah, like I stopped going out and fucking around, you know, I have a daughter now or kids. Same thing. You know, you're not living a risky life, and I hope most people don't do this, but I hope that you kind of wake up to your own bullshit and you're like, hey, I've got to make sure, everybody's fed, there's work, we're getting paid, and everybody's taken care of, because that's ultimately your responsibility as a boss and an owner of a business, is to keep everybody moving and progressing. And as long as they're helping the company. If they're not, then you find the people that will, and you help them with their personal development. Not everybody's perfect, so whether employees stay or go, it's also a reflection not only on their behavior, but the business management and the culture. So there's a lot to it. You're asking, what do I think about the supplemental use of psilocybin or shrooms, mushrooms, and microdosing? Because we have a member, super accomplished, successful dude, works in pharmaceuticals. He's stated multiple times, self-diagnosed ADD or ADHD as a working professional. And so he will kind of do the Black Rifle coffee thing, the bulletproof coffee thing, and he puts psilocybin in, microdosing his coffee in the morning. It helps him concentrate throughout the day. Now, I would always refer to, Dr. Professor Andrew Huberman and his podcast and his neurological science based on psychedelics and different types of substances, for reference. But kind of my summary from what I've gotten is that, just like you were saying, what helps you, because you want to be more productive, is eliminate distractions when you're allocating your time to work. So it's like, okay, this is where I need to focus. Like Alex Hormozi always talks about this. Like, he can't work nearly as good in hotels and when they're traveling, so he created his own little closet workspace studio, and he can get in there and he can just focus and really buckle down and grind. And I think that's with anything, is find yourself a space, kind of how you created your office and studio, really awesome, and then immediately eliminate your distractions. If it's like taking your phone offline, putting it on silent for X amount of time, so you can really just focus, that ultimately is going to be the biggest thing, because with the science, boosting neuroreceptor pathways and all that, there is some correlation, there is pseudoscience. 90% of it, I think, is going to be the placebo effect, as what is proven in recorded science with psilocybin and other things. Because with anything, you're adding a substance for your brain, but if you're taking care of yourself, your diet's correct, you're clean, you're not prone to substance abuse like caffeine or any other stimulants, or even marijuana, obviously, because people are the worst. They don't understand the dangers mentally with that stuff and psychologically. That you just really eliminating distraction is going to be a biggest. And I recommend people coming up with practices for it, and starting to implement it and seeing and tracking your data, like tracking your productivity level, seeing how it goes. So that's my opinion. I've tried and done a lot of things, and nothing ever really hits for me except just getting in the zone. So eliminating distraction. When I go to build a machine, I put my headphones on, I put my playlist, music, whatever it is, and I just grind. I just get into it, and that helps me because I'm not overly stimulated from exterior things of my environment. Whether it's people trying to talk to me because they see that I'm working, I have headphones on. Whether it's distractions from my phone, it's on silent. I let my crew, folks know, okay, I'm going to be over here. This is what I'm doing right now, or I'm outside, working. And so I think for me as well, eliminating distraction is the biggest proponent for my productivity level that increase at a high rate. So eliminating distraction, people can talk about utilization of drugs, psilocybin, microdosing, smoking weed. Literally, your mind is the most powerful thing in the universe. All that's bullshit. It's 90% placebo effect. There's no actual proven science except that psilocybin and certain psychotropics do help improve, to a point, neuroreceptor pathway increase. That doesn't necessarily mean it's making you smarter or focused. It's just increasing pathways. That could just be raising your body temperature for all we're talking about. That's why, again, I reference Andrew Huberman and his podcast and some of his information he's put out there about that neuroscience. But just like with Alex Hormozi and his workspace, you were just talking about moving your desk away from the closet and away from the door and putting it into the corner facing 3 blank walls and creating your workstation. The best thing if you want to maximize your productivity is eliminating distractions, putting your phone away, being accountable to set yourself aside to maximize your productivity by eliminating distractions, putting your phone away, like I just said. And also, we were just talking about, make it your own space, paint the walls, hang a calendar, get something cool, make it feel comfortable. I'm like, it's not supposed to feel comfortable. it's supposed to feel useful. Okay, so think about it like this. The human brain, if you have too much, like an example, in my last shop, somebody gave me a hot rod calendar and I hung it above my computer. And I'd catch myself drifting and spacing out, looking at the calendar or looking at the cars and like thinking about other things. But if I'm looking at a blank wall, like a very simple workspace, when you do space out, you're not thinking about the blank wall. It's a blank wall. You're thinking about what's in your mind and you're focusing on your thought process and all that. You're just having a blank slate to concentrate. You're actually concentrating on what you're thinking about versus, say, looking out at a beautiful view in a rooftop office or something like that. And people brag, oh, you know, today's office, and they're full of shit, they're distracted. Like, that's real. You're gonna think about, oh, I wanna jump in the lake or the ocean. Oh, I wanna do this. You're not actually focusing, but if you have like a blank wall, you're able to not drift off, but to drift into your own thoughts and focus on what it is you're processing and what you're thinking about and helping you stay on task. So don't listen to the people that like use that distraction like, oh, I'm more productive, I guarantee it. That's fucking bullshit. The brain is the brain, and everyone's brain works the same. You feel pain, you wake up, you go to sleep, you get tired, and you also drift in thought and you get distracted. So eliminate distractions, increase your productivity, and don't fucking kid yourself on the bullshit. Everyone on Instagram talking about today's office, and they're like at the bar or on the beach or something, they're full of shit. They probably had to answer one email from their mom. Anyway, eliminate distractions.